Good afternoon, everyone. We'd like to thank you for joining us and welcome you to our weekly media availability with our head football coach, Coach Oliver. Today, we also have two student athletes join us following Coach Oliver. To get us started, if you would like to record, you can do so at this time. We'll start out with general comments from Coach Oliver about the bye week and then a little bit about Delaware State. Coach Oliver.
Yes, much needed bye week. Working try to get some guys healthy. We had a couple guys banged up that have been out for a few weeks. Then obviously it was an opportunity for guys just to get away for a minute and kind of clear their heads. But also we had a huge two things: official visit weekend this weekend. Had quite a few guys on campus, great prospects, and got a couple commitments there. And then also we did community service, a huge community service project at the Emily K Youth Center, Emily K Center. So it was good to be able to get back out in the community and do some community service this weekend, and then regroup and get ready to focus back in on a very good Delaware State football team.
All right, this time we don't know for members of the media to ask questions. Just please use the raise your hand feature if you have a question for Coach. Can you talk about the importance of being able to kind of like do that community service on the bye week? A lot of teams, they probably just try to give the guys off or practice harder. Just talk about the community service piece of it all.
Yeah, I think it's twofold. I think obviously we can give back to community, whether it be the more mature folks in the community or the young adults here. But obviously we want to pour back into the community. But secondly, I think it helps our young men be more appreciative from the blessings they have, and being healthy and being able to function and so on and so forth, and all the things they have. So these guys are blessed. I think sometimes people, not them, but just adults and me and anybody else, sometimes take things for granted. And it's good. Well, I think once you do these community service projects, it's bigger than football, bigger than school, and some people out here are struggling a little bit, and it's good to be able to help out and just provide hope for them. So I think it's twofold. It'll help folks, and then also it'll help ourselves.
Walk me through what your recruiting visits look like. What did you show of your potential recruits of North Carolina Central? What they do around Durham? Walk us through that.
Well, it was a lot more intimate this weekend. I think we had 8 total guys here, but from Friday to Sunday. And I think all of the guys except for one had been on campus before, whether it been at camps or previous games and things of that nature. So we've already had a relationship. They've already been on campus. They've seen some of the buildings. They've been on the campus tour. So now we can kind of spend a little bit more one-on-one time with their position coach and, how they fit into our scheme, how they fit into the system. We do a great player panel here where they can talk to the current student athletes about, a day in the life of North Carolina Central. And we actually eat our meals in the cafeteria, so they taste what our cafeteria meals are. So we don't hide things and we don't try to sugarcoat anything. They see who we are, how we operate, what we eat. And, so when they get here, it's not a culture shock, and it's not, oh, you promised me this and we got that. So they get an opportunity to really spend some quality time. I spend a whole lot of one-on-one time with all the families individually. And then, it's a real laid back weekend. And like I said, it's very intimate. We don't do large numbers of, 18 and 20 people in these visits because I don't think that you can be effective with that and, reach everybody and spend time with everybody. So, a lot of folks on their bye weeks, they laying in bed watching TV. My crew, my coach out here working a little bit.
You got to get on mom's good side, right? That's how you woo them over.
Whoever the champion is. Sometimes it's dad. You can't spend too much time talking to mom. Sometimes those dads look at you a little sideways. Whoever the champion is or whoever got to use to close the deal.
I got you. I know in the past couple of years, you said Mosley would rip off some explosive runs, but then, he'd come up with something. He'd be out for practice, and then you couldn't get him involved this much. This year, now that he's your feature back, how have you felt he's handled the workload, and how has he changed his habits to be successful?
Well, it's a lot that comes into that. As far as strength and conditioning is concerned, and the guys staying healthy throughout the course of the season. We pay a lot of attention to the workload we're putting on the guys day by day, and who's getting reps during what periods. Some periods that we might not want Mosley in if it's going to be a real physical period. We're going to do a lot of banging. And that's an opportunity for us to get our number 2 or number 3 running back in there to get them some quality reps. So we spend a lot of time with, the different periods of practice, who's going to get that emphasis. And then, our nutrition program here. We spend a lot of time talking about nutrition and They got all the snacks and food in the world to eat in the weight room. So these guys put on good quality weight, and then TC does a great job of transforming them in their bodies and what we call prehab. Some people talk about the rehab after the injury. We spend a lot of time talking about prehab, trying to prevent injury. So it's the holistic part of the program. We talk about sports medicine, strength and conditioning, and nutrition. That helps. That's really cut down on a lot of the injuries. Now, some things just gonna happen because it's a physical game, but I think with us having a plan for Mosley and his workload in practice, as well as our support staff, is a reason why he's been healthy this year.
How did you find Van Gates, someone who was playing at NAIA Kaiser and probably isn't the first name that pops up in the portal? How did you find him, and what has he brought to your team from offense and also special teams impact?
Well, Coach Leone had a previous relationship with Rufino and folks down in Florida at the school. So that's how his name came up, and that's how the relationship started. We don't just jump into, me, I don't just jump in the portal looking for guys, especially, folks from Florida or, far away like that. So we had a pre-existing relationship with him. And when we brought him on a visit, he seemed like he fit the culture. Quiet, mild-mannered young man. If you meet him, he's not going to say too much. He's going to smile and score touchdowns. And the other thing is production. When you look in the portal, and we're going to take a guy out of the portal, he can't be a guy that was not productive at school A and think he's going to come in here and set records here. It doesn't work like that in my experiences. So if we want a guy that's been, that's going to come in here and make plays, he's had to make plays at his previous school. Now, I don't care if that's NAIA or Division II or Division III or FBS. The dudes had to have been able to play. And obviously, wherever he came from, I don't care about that level. He was a player when we watched the film, and it's carried over since he's been here.
How has your D line improved from week 0 against Southern until now?
Well, I've seen him improve since spring ball. It's been a process from spring ball all the way through. And we have a new D-line coach in here, Coach Cross, who is a savvy and seasoned vet. He's been in the game a long, long time and coached at the highest level. But they've really, brought into his coaching, and he does a good job of developing men, more so than anything. And I think we kind of simplified some things and gave them a little, different techniques they can use, and it's carried over. So, from Southern University game until now, I think the biggest thing has been all three levels: the front end, the linebacker playing the back end, playing together, and guys not trying to do too much. But we're very deep. We're deep on the defensive line. We've got probably about 10 to 12 guys that play every week, and they got a next man up mentality. So our twos to me are really it's like a 1A, 1B. I'm comfortable with all 8 from the ones and twos. But he's been a blessing to have here on staff, and I think I know our D-line guys love him to death, and maybe because he's feeding barbecue here and there. I don't know those extra meals, but it's been a blessing to have him, and I think that you've really seen an improved play at our D-line.
Coach, we have a question from the chat from Lawrence. He said he's sick and he's under the weather, but he has a question. He wants to know, with a team like Delaware State that loves to run the game, how important is it to control the gaps?
Like I said, you can get in trouble with teams like this trying to do too much and trying to make plays. Just do your responsibility, do your job, stay in your gap, and that's where it starts. But we'll do some things. I think obviously the big thing is you got to win first down, and if we can win first down and get them behind the chains and get them in the second long and third and long, obviously you can make them one-dimensional. But you can't let them win first down and get second and 3, second and 4. That's when they have their whole playbook. And that's where he cause people problems. But the guys gotta be violent and very physical. And when I say violent, obviously using their hands, getting off the ball, our D line, and then our linebackers got to do a great job, fitting the run, and then the back end we have to do a great job with eye discipline, because they're going to run play action pass and try to set something up and throw it downfield on us. So we can't fall asleep in the back end because we know they're going to try to take some shots with the play action game.
A couple questions. First is, at this point, kind of getting into the matchup, is there anything that you've seen on the film from this Delaware State team, without giving too much away? Is there anything that you've seen on the film from this Delaware State team that has kind of had you take a couple couple extra hours of film study. I know the kid Gillis in the backfield is an all-world back for them, but is there anybody else on that team? Is it the depth in the backfield? Is it anything else that has made you kind of say, you know, we're going to take a couple extra hours of film? There's something that they haven't shown on this film that causes a little bit of concern.
No, it's like a boxing match, man. They're gonna stand in front of you and they're gonna start swinging. You know where they're gonna line up, you know where they're gonna be. They're gonna have I know they're gonna have some wrinkles. They come off a bye week. So we'll see a few gadget plays and stuff like that. But you know, they play some old school football. They just want to knock you off the ball and let their running backs loose. So you know, extra film study, not necessarily. We might have to do some extra military press and push-ups and things like that this week to get them shoulders right. But I don't think they're going to try to trick us. I mean, they're going to come downhill. What they've been doing has been working. So I don't foresee them making major changes. You know, I think they're going to try to do a better job of what they do. And like I said, the big thing is when they take those shots and they try to run that double reverse pass or that flea flicker, it's a trick play coming. We just have to play with great eye discipline and defend that.
Of course, my second question to follow up, thank you for that. My follow-up question to that is, with watching this team and what's developed, speaking about North Carolina Central on this part, is as we've seen the team develop over the last few weeks and throughout non-conference play, have you seen anything particularly on the offensive side of the ball that makes you smile? Like, hey, man, this is something we looked forward to developing on the offensive side of the ball from week 0, not week 1, but week 0 to this point headed into conference play. Any particular thing on that side, or is it just across the board consistency?
I think, you know, first and foremost, a level of consistency is key, because now as long as you're consistent, then we can work to grow. But I think the biggest thing is, like, people can't just, you know, focus on Mosley, or they can't just focus on Chauncey Spikes, or just focus on Luke Bracey or Kyle Morgan. You know, we got some players over there on that side of the ball, you know, the skill and the big skill being the running backs and receivers, big skill being the tight ends, that can make plays. And we've had a bunch of guys banged up and out. Like Luke Bracey's been out for, I guess, 2 or 3 weeks now, and you kind of haven't missed him. You know, we haven't skipped a beat. Now we can't wait to get him back. But I think that we have so many playmakers over there, and Walker's done a great job of not forcing things and going through his progression. We got a lot of guys over there that can really hurt you. You know, Darrell Taylor's been out for a couple of weeks, and he's a guy that we were always counting on. But, you know, with the Mekhi Walls and the Chance Peterson, Chauncey Spikes, Nassim Cosby, you know, it's a bunch of guys over there that can make you pay. And, you know, that's a blessing to have that.
Nice seeing you, Maurice. Nice seeing you, Coach. How you doing?
Man, my day is complete. Charlie's on here. I'm good.
Well, thank you very much. Well, Coach, you've had your 2 bye weeks now, and you're getting ready to head on with these final 5 games. I know you look at them one at a time, but what kind of headspace and health you're looking at coming down to the stretch? Because this is where it all begins, right here.
Right. You know, headspace, you know, this right here is you know, I preach to the guys about, you know, a championship program or a champion can repeat their performance day in and day out, week in and week out. So, you know, you're not a one-hit wonder. You know, I don't care what gym you go to. You got Kobe Bryant shooting free throws. Kobe Bryant's going to shoot. He's going to make his shots. You know what I'm saying? LeBron's going to make them shots. Now, some days might be a little better than others, but there's not going to be a big difference between their best days and their worst days. So as a champion, we've got to play at a championship level every week from here on out, bottom line. And as far as injuries are concerned, we don't even worry about that. That is what it is. You know, we got some guys banged up. Malcolm Reed, all American safety, he's been out. So next man's got to go. And we will not make any excuses about who was banged up, who was injured. It's our responsibility, my responsibility, that the backup, whether it's a 2 or 3, is ready to roll. And this weekend, you know, whoever was healthy will play, and they're going to play at a high level.
Also, this weekend is homecoming there. What do you tell your guys about staying the course and not veer off too much, or getting excited because it's homecoming?
Well, I'm gonna give them a couple of nights to enjoy homecoming, enjoy the campus, and all that stuff. You know, but Wednesday's their last day. Thursday night we will not be out. So anybody that's watching this clip, if y'all see any of my players out Thursday, y'all text me or call campus police, call 911, call somebody. But you know, I want the guys to enjoy it. You know, I think if you have too many rules, that's when guys break rules. So, you know, you have to give a little bit. to get a little bit. So the guys, if they want to go to whatever, the gospel concert or the comedy show, whatever they have going on, enjoy it. But, like any other week, we always talk about Thursday is the most important night to get rest. So we don't change our whole mindset and our whole schedule just because it's homecoming week. So like I tell the guys every week, enjoy the week, whatever, but like Thursday night, get some wings and sit down and watch the game with your boys, whoever's playing Thursday night. So Thursday night, Friday night, of course, is off limits. And then, they can meet me on the track after the game and we'll eat a fish sandwich.
Appreciate your time, Trey. Last one from me. What was the one thing you learned about yourself in your first year as a head coach?
I was probably one of the worst coaches in America in 2019. No, what I learned, you have to have a level of patience. And I thought we had some talent on the team in 2019. I thought we had a lot of talent on the team, but the culture was terrible. And we had to get our guys in here. And I told them when I took the job, whoever wants to buy into the culture, you're my guy. All I recruit you as long as you're part of the program, you bought in, you're my guy. But it was rough, man. It was tough, especially when you've had so much success at various programs over the past however many years. You finally wait your time to get your program, and you're terrible. We were 4-8. And it was so frustrating, and that's why I have all this gray hair. I didn't have all this gray hair when I got here. Now I'm looking like Frankie Beverly. But you just had to be patient. And I learned that and prayed a whole lot about it. But we continue to stay faithful with it and keep pressing on. Continue to recruit. That was the big thing, to continue to get good guys in here. Not necessarily great players, but guys that fit the culture and that love football. If they're good people that love football, you can coach them up on everything else. But I guess patience was the biggest thing.
Gotcha. Thank you, Coach. I'm not seeing too many of those grays. You're looking sharp.
The light must not be right.
Coach, well, any final thoughts about Delaware State ahead of the game on Saturday?
Oh, it's going to be a good one. Good physical ball game. These guys averaging, I think, 7 yards a carry, 327 yards a game. So their numbers they're putting up, I haven't seen numbers like this before. So our defense and Coach Thompson and his staff, we're going to get challenged this week. But it's going to be a great game. I think Coach Jackson has done a great job putting his staff together. And, I'm all about competition. So we're looking forward to it. Happy homecoming to alum out there. Can't wait to see you all in the nest. And your North Carolina Central Eagles are going to be ready to roll.
DQ, I asked the first question to get us started here. Obviously, we got Delaware State coming in. They know to run the ball as a defensive lineman. How much have you seen, and what are your thoughts on Delaware State?
I feel like they're a very explosive team. I feel like this past bye week, we just spent time just focusing on fundamentals and just emphasizing the D-line, stopping the run. That's a big thing, but they're very explosive, and we look forward to the challenge.
All right, we'll open up for questions from any members of the media that have DQ at this time.
DQ, good to see you, young fella.
Yes, sir.
First homecoming back here at the hometown at North Carolina Central. I was going to start there, man. Thoughts about how it feels to be back at home. I know this is not your first home game back here, but first homecoming back here in the hometown. Any thoughts, any feelings, any parts of excitement, man?
Just excited. I think just from being here, just being home, just seeing it, but then being a part of it is just an even bigger thing, and it just means a lot more to me. Just excited, man, ready to put on the show.
My follow-up question is about preparation coming out of two out of the last 3 weeks have been bye weeks. Preparation going into this week. MEAC conference play is a gauntlet, but having two bye weeks prior to this, has it been helpful? Has it helped to alter kind of your approach? What has your approach been during these 2 out of 3 bye weeks that you've had here last few weeks?
Okay. I think it's been our approach, right? I think we've came in and we just focused, going back to the basics. There's a standard here, just focusing on those fundamentals, that discipline, just having the highest standard possible for ourselves. I think the biggest thing is going 1-0, right? Going 1-0 every week, and just going for it all. But it starts by going 1-0. We can't lose.
Hey, DQ, thanks for hopping on. Talk to us about your swimming prowess at Hillside. How'd you get into swimming, and then how'd you decide to become a football player instead of a competitive swimmer?
Wow. Okay. You just took me back. I definitely enjoyed those days. If I told you a story, I'd probably be here for a little while and have too many cackles, about that time and how it ended up happening. But really, it started as a kid. I saw a guy swimming. He was younger than me. I was watching him, checking out his technique. I hopped in the lake. I started drowning, man. I was, what I'm saying? I was helpless. But I think the biggest thing that I found a lot about myself is being relentless in that moment, not giving up. At one moment, I did, but I'm still here, obviously. But I just had to find it within myself to keep going. I think swimming was the first. I started swimming before I started playing football. So just after a while, not making a basketball team, thought I was gonna be the next LeBron. But football took over, and it's a sport where you just really get to earn your own and just continue to fight and just earn your keep and stay in the game. So definitely was a time though.
One more from me. Who is the funniest player on the D line?
Man, we got a lot of character and humor in that room, but I probably would have to go with Richard James. That guy is hilarious, but like I said, just a lot of humor in the room, and I think that's what keeps the room just being able to stay serious, but also just having that humor helps out a lot and helps the learning environment as we continue to try to pursue greatness.
All right, DQ, I actually have a question for you. I mean, the last couple of games, defense has held, I think, last three games, each team's under 100 yards rushing. Can you talk a little bit about how much pride you guys take in the fact that you've held teams under 100 yards rushing in three consecutive games?
That's been the standard. That's what we put on film is who we are, and that's what we continue to try to put on film. Like I said, these bye weeks have helped tremendously. Just focusing on those details and fundamentals, low pad level. Coach Cross has done an amazing job with us, and we appreciate him. But it's meant a lot. And we talk about identity of our room, and we just look to be relentless and dominant. Against whatever opponent we may be facing. Big thing for us is just nameless and faithless, and going out there being relentless.
And my final question, DQ, I mean, at this point, halfway through the season, you got 21 sacks as a team and 49 tackles for loss. I know you guys, the D line, takes a lot of pride in that. Can you just talk about what goes into your preparation each game?
Yeah, I mean, big kudos to Coach Thompson. I think, and that staff, that's our defense staff in general. They cook up a lot of things, and we talk about going to preparation. We got guys that are locked in and keyed in on the details of whatever, games or blitzes we might be running. And I think that's a big testament to that, or just playing fundamental football. So, same things every week. Like I said, fundamentals, details, just being disciplined, being locked in when we're out there between those lines. So yeah, it's really big for us.
All right, this time we have Max. Max, thanks for joining us today, and I'll ask the first question. Max, currently you lead the team in tackles. Defense playing really good football right now, and you got a run first team coming in. Tell us your thoughts about Delaware State and just the overall process of getting prepared for each game.
Absolutely. Delaware State is a very good football team. I've been watching a lot of film over this past bye week and then going into this week. Like you said with DQ earlier, we've been putting it on film, stopping the run. So that's going to be the goal again this week. It's the goal every week to stop the run, make a team one-dimensional at North Carolina Central. That's what we try and do on this side of the ball. Speaking for myself, when it comes to preparation for a game, just watching as much film as I can early, and then just so by the time it gets to Saturday, everything's kind of second nature, not thinking through everything.
All right, we'll open up for members of the media to ask questions of Max at this time.
Max, you've been around the MEAC for a while. When you saw Deshaun Jackson got hired at Delaware State, what was your initial reaction?
Uh, I mean, honestly, I didn't really have any type of reaction. I guess I'm excited more than anything, just getting more eyes, more cameras into the MEAC, showcasing this brand of football that the conference has to offer.
Did you expect them to be a pass first team, or when you looked at the numbers or watched the film, were you a little surprised that they weren't throwing it more often?
Going off of personnel wise, they have really, really good running backs that I understand wanting to get them the ball a lot.
With your back end, there's some young talent there. How have you, from a linebacker spot, helped them out throughout the year, seen them grow?
I think there is some younger guys. I know Eric Adams had to come in when Malcolm Reed went down earlier in the year, but then you got another veteran guy like myself, Jelani Vassell in the back end playing safety, who it's helping pull those guys along. They look at him as a leader, and I do as well as a defense. So I think Jelani's done a great job leading the back end this year.
Sorry, I couldn't come off mute. Sorry about that. Max, what's up, big fella?
How you doing?
Good, man. Let's talk a little bit about what you've seen. You talk about the back end's development, some young guys having to step in. As you being the leader of the defensive side of the ball, I think you guys have taken a more cooperative approach from a leadership standpoint, but it's without question that you lead the defensive side of the ball. Um, have you seen, both from the back end as well as in the defensive line perspective, have you seen the depth kind of step up and mature in front of your very eyes? The guys who have had to kind of be thrown into some situations and really step up and play a little bit more. Have you seen them step up, as the process is going along this season? Have you seen them both on the defensive line as well as in the back end and even in the linebacker room?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that goes to coaching. I mean, people are not at all hesitant about stepping into a spot they haven't played in before. For example, our starting wheel linebacker Isaiah Lawson, he's been here just as long as me and hasn't had as prominent as a role in the defense until this year, but there was no let off or anything like that. As soon as he stepped into his role, was able to excel. Same in the back end. Malcolm Reed went down. There was no hesitation from the whole defensive side. As soon as Eric Adams went out there, nobody blinked an eye, batted an eye whatsoever. And like Coach Oliver said, in his side, we 1A, 1B on the D line. It doesn't matter who I see in front of me on the defensive line. I know they'll be able to get the job done.
Defensive group has seemed to be very opportunistic the last few weeks, forcing a great deal of turnovers, taking advantage of opportunities that you guys are seeing. I know there's some intentionality there, but talk a little bit about it, about what you guys have seen from being so opportunistic. A couple turnovers against FAMU, same against East Texas A&M. I mean, you guys have seemingly hit a stride in being able to take advantage of when teams make mistakes on the offensive side of the ball. You guys take advantage.
I think that just goes down to doing your job and then being ready when the ball does come to you. Play defense. They're not going to throw us the ball on purpose, so you're going to have to go get it. And I think early in the year and even in East Texas, we started letting some opportunities get away from us. And then last week against FAMU, and then hopefully for the rest of the year, we've be in position to make the plays and make the plays that come to us.
I know you've had your two bye weeks now, and I know you only take it one game at a time. But as you get ready to head through the gauntlet now of MEAC football now and everything, how would you say is the headspace of the team and how you all are feeling, as you're getting ready to start this quest here?
Absolutely. I think one of the advantages I have is I've been at Central for so long. I know how it gets in the MEAC, and you can play as good a football as you want to and then drop one game, and that's it. So there's no tomorrow. Got to attack every day like it's your last day because every game could be your last game. And I think getting ready to hop into conference play, the attitude of the team is the same. Got to go out and win every Saturday.